Let's get smarter with the help of our leadoff panel, and we're not waiting for them. Katie Benner is here, Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter for the New York Times. Luke Broadwater, also a Pulitzer Prize-winning congressional reporter for the Times, and former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance. She spent 25 years as a federal prosecutor, and we need her legal chops tonight. Joyce, it has been over 20 years since Bush v. Gore. How is what is happening right now different? I want you to put this whole thing in perspective.
You know, it's such a great question to start with, Steph, because Bush versus Gore is decided 23 years ago. Only one justice from that version of the Supreme Court is still on the court, and that's Clarence Thomas. There's been fruit basket turnover. In Bush versus Gore, the court decided that case the day after they heard oral argument. They appreciated the importance of an election-related issue, and they did not take an ounce more time than they needed to reach a decision so the country could move forward. And that's the question that we're looking at here. Will this court feel that same urgency? Will they decide these cases quickly? Some of these cases can go a little bit more slowly than others. The third of the cases, the determination about whether the obstruction statute applies, that one doesn't necessarily need to move at lightning speed. But these other two, the decision being appealed from Colorado and this question of whether Trump is entitled to have the indictment dismissed on the basis of his immunity and his double jeopardy arguments, if this case is going to be tried before the election, those decisions need to happen pretty quickly. And that, I think, is the point that Trump's lawyers raise here. And look, it's not a frivolous argument. Their argument is that there's a normal procedure for appellate sorts of issues, and that pace should be followed here. There's no reason to rush, and in fact, the only reason for rushing would be partisan, Donald Trump's infamous witch hunt argument. Jack Smith's response is, some issues are so important, so strongly in the public interest, that we should skip the normal procedure and jump straight to a decision. And implicit in that argument is the point that the American public is entitled to have a criminal trial before the election, before people vote, to help them make up their minds. And what we don't know tonight is how the Supreme Court will come down, given those two very different decision points.
Luke, appeal was always the name of the game. So is it basically a given that the highest court would eventually have a role in these cases during the election year?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this is such an important decision for the Supreme Court to make, because if by some chance they decide that Colorado has made the right decision, then you're going to see state after state where Donald Trump is kicked off the ballot and simply cannot become the next president, or has no shot at becoming the next president of the United States. And in some ways, these cases are related, right? Because if Trump is convicted in the January 6th prosecution, that only strengthens the argument that he should be removed from the ballot under the 14th Amendment. You'll recall that there is a local lawmaker in New Mexico who led the Cowboys for Trump, and he was convicted related to January 6th, and he was actually removed from his office. He was physically removed and had to leave the office. So it can happen, and if there is a conviction or if there's a ruling by a court, you could literally see Donald Trump not be able to run for office if the Supreme Court upholds this.
Katie, this is going to put even more scrutiny on the Supreme Court that has been dealing with huge backlash over a number of things, controversial decisions, ethics, and now whether or not Clarence Thomas should recuse himself. What will all of that mean for whatever they decide in these cases?
So I think you're making two interesting points. One goes to the credibility specifically of the Supreme Court, and then, of course, to our legal system and the rule of law. So to the Supreme Court, yes, this is one of the reasons it was essential for John Roberts to come out and give some sort of new ethics rule to address the controversy over behavior by members of the court, particularly Clarence Thomas, in taking money and taking trips, et cetera. And so that stand had to be made in order to give that court credibility. Even though people can argue that it wasn't enough, something had to be done because, as to your point, people were losing faith in the court. And the reason this is a big deal for rule of law, Supreme Court, and all of our courts as they decide these very difficult things is that if there's no credibility amongst the American public, if people really believe the game is rigged, we don't have a working democracy. So something has to be done in order to make sure that these are credible bodies as they make these extremely consequential decisions, as Luke and as Joyce just laid out.